Breaking news at 6 as a new wildfire forces immediate evacuations in Clark County. We're live with team coverage. Plus,
we have dedicated every available resource to this case.
As we learn new details this evening about the suspect and the 5 people found dead on a rural property near Forest Grove.
Then, a rare look inside the massive dam that helps power the Northwest.
You always learn something new every single time.
And later, a brand new season of football on the horizon as a new quarterback takes charge in Corvallis.
But first, our top story this evening. We have learned the identities of the 5 people found dead near a burned-out car in Forest Grove. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pinawanet.
And I'm David Moko. The sheriff's office also confirming that 3 of those victims are related: a grandmother, her daughter, and her adult granddaughter. Let's get right to Devin Haskins live in Washington County with what's become another grim update to an unfolding tragedy. Devin.
Yeah, Washington County Sheriff's Office releasing the names of those 5 victims just over a couple of hours ago, and they are as follows. 85-year-old Mary Kimsey was killed along with her daughter, Rowan, who owns the property, and Mary's granddaughter, Stella. Stella was dating the suspect, Benjamin Parker, who also lived there. And also killed were Stella's best friend, Lindsay Haroldson, and Lindsay's partner, Alvin Shue. A rural property in Washington County, the scene of a major crime. Saturday morning, neighbor Dwight Herb watched a fire truck race by his home.
Then later on, one after another.
Forest Grove Fire was responding to a call for a car fire. But when they got there, they soon realized it was much worse.
This is some suspicious circumstances, certainly. So we're gonna disconnect our hoses and get out of here and let the sheriff's office clear this, and then we'll return up.
Alona Adams lives next door and walked outside to see what was going on.
I heard sirens. All I knew is I thought it was just because of the car fire. I didn't know anything else that went on.
When deputies arrived, 5 people were found dead on the property, along with 2 cats and 2 dogs. During a Sunday afternoon press conference, Sheriff Caprice Massey addressing the nature of the crime.
I recognize that this incident is deeply concerning to our community. Our investigators are working to determine what happened, and we have dedicated every available resource to this case.
At the same time, detectives kept a tight lip when asked for details.
I can't speak to that at this point, yeah.
Were they found near each other?
Again, I can't release any details about this scene.
Then Sunday evening, the sheriff called another press conference to say they had found the suspect. 36-year-old Benjamin Parker was found dead by apparent suicide inside his vehicle in Enumclaw, Washington, near Tacoma. We've learned on Monday that detectives used flock cameras to track Parker's vehicle.
So they called us and said, we have a cell phone ping in your city. Here's the plate and the car that you're looking for. We go to the flock system, we put the plate in. We could see that he'd hit a couple of our cameras, and the last hit was him coming into the city, and he had not left. So we had a good indication that he was still here.
So a lot of questions still to remain answered, especially by those living in there and us, the media, wanting to ask Washington County Sheriff's Office all those questions. They say that they will hold another press conference tomorrow at some point to address more about this case. Back to you.
So senseless and just a tragic situation. Devin Haskins reporting. Thank you, Devin. And a reminder, when we are talking about stories like this one, if you or someone you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts, help is available 24/7. All you have to do is dial the number on your screen. You can text or call it. That is 988.
Happening right now in Clark County, crews are working to contain a wildfire that's burning grass and timber in a rural area north of Battleground and east of La Center.
We're told they're making progress, fortunately, and evacuation orders have just been lowered. So let's get right to live team coverage, starting with meteorologist Joe Ranieri in Clark County. Joe, what's the latest?
Well, the latest I can tell you, the conditions have changed dramatically in the favor of, the homeowners out here, as well as crews who've been battling this wildfire since around 11 o'clock this morning. And David and Christine, if I told you there's a wildfire in the area, honestly, you wouldn't believe me, because we're seeing clear skies, a little bit of some smoky and hazy conditions, but the winds have really calmed down. That was the concern earlier today as crews started to work on this wildfire burning not far from where I'm at. We're live right here from the Charter Oak Community Church where evacuees are gathering, waiting to find out when they can go back into their home. Now, the fire broke out in a rural area in Clark County about 11 o'clock this morning. Now, earlier today, we saw 3 helicopters come down to the Erickson Pond to pick up water and drop it on the fire. Crews also have 2 large air tankers and several engines and dozers. Now, this fire is being called the Hidden Meadows Fire. The wildfire is burning west of State Route 503 between Hidden Meadows and Mountain View Drive, which is between Battleground and Barger Lake. One woman I spoke with who wasn't evacuated spent the afternoon helping a friend who was forced from their home.
It was just like a fast, you know, they had everybody out, but then it didn't end up being like, it's not like this. So my concern is about my animals. I don't care about anything else.
Now, about an hour ago, I did speak with a spokesperson who, with this fire with DNR, who told me, again, about 12 acres have burned so far, but crews really jumped on this very quickly to get a good handle on the fire. As of now, so far that we know, rather, no homes or structures have been destroyed in this fire. But again, crews are going to be out here all night monitoring the situation out here. But for the time being, we are seeing winds on the very calm side compared to what we saw earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, good to hear some, at least what appears to be positive news. Thank you, Joe.
Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Sfino. Matt, I mean, it sounds like great news, all things considered.
Yeah, the wind is the big enemy of fighting a fire, right? I know it's hot out there. That doesn't help. But as long as the wind are down, crews can really do some good work. We're looking northeast from our Vancouver Skycam, the Springs at the waterfront. But we're looking northeast towards that part of Clark County. We're really not picking up much, if any, smoke from that fire, which is great. 93 degrees, so it's hot. Humidity is low, but the wind is basically dead calm in most locations. In fact, it is calm at Woodland, Merwin, Yakult, Brush Prairie, and Vancouver, all seeing dead calm winds, which is really, really great to see. And will really let those firefighters do some good work, get ahead of that. Now, farther out in the gorge, we've got east winds. They're mainly confined to the gorge, but that's why it's so hot, because we picked up an offshore flow. That changes those as we go into tomorrow. Look at the north and east winds as we go into tonight. Tomorrow still have that. Then you start to see a shift. Still have an east wind at that time. That's 6 a.m. right, but by later in the day, we get a full-on push of wind coming in from the west and southwest and up the Columbia River from the northwest. That'll begin to put an end to this heat wave. We even have a couple chances of showers later in the week, guys.
Hey, that all sounds good. Thank you, Matt.
In your headlines, Oregon City police are asking for help finding a suspect they say is connected to multiple burglaries at a food cart pod. Surveillance video from early Sunday morning shows the suspect they say breaking into Bite and Roll. They also hit Crazy Coconut and Oregon City Bear Company. The pod is just off 14th and Center. Police say the suspect stole from each business, then took off on a bicycle. If you recognize them, you're asked to contact Oregon City Police.
A man who suffered severe burns in Old Town last week has died, and police are now investigating his death as a homicide. Police say 54-year-old Anthony Tony Knights was found with severe burns near Northwest Davis Street and Nadeau Parkway last Tuesday evening. Investigators say someone intentionally injured Knights, then took off. Knights died Saturday from complications related to his burns.
More than 20 people have been forced from their homes after a fire destroyed their apartment building in Cathlamet. That's on the Washington side of the Columbia, about a half hour west of Longview. Firefighters were called to the building on Columbia Avenue around 2 this morning with flames shooting from the windows and through the roof. The fire eventually destroyed the building, though officials say everyone got out safely. No word yet on the cause.
A Portland restaurant has some cleaning up to do and repair work as well after a truck crashed into its outdoor dining area. Take a look at the damage here to Mirasada on Southeast Belmont. The crash happened over the weekend. Good news, though, no one was hurt. The restaurant posted online that its insurance should cover the damage and there's no need for donations. But customers are welcome to come, and there's plenty of other seating. We spoke to one neighbor who said she and others will be stopping by even more than usual to show their support.
It's extraordinarily special. It's not just the incredibly great food that they provide. They are great advocates for social justice issues. So
Mirasada specializes in vegetarian Sri Lankan cuisine. The restaurant co-owner says police did catch a suspect, thanks in part to a neighbor who got video of a truck driving away after the crash.
And in Central Oregon, deputies say a thief made their job easier by putting about $20,000 worth of stolen golf gear up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The gear disappeared last month from a ranch in the community of Powell Butte that's east of Redmond. Investigators say they used serial numbers and a storage unit photo in the Marketplace post to track it to 44-year-old Matthew Chavez. Deputies arrested him Friday in Portland and found the stolen golf bags and the gear.